Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2426A. And today's date is March 14th, 2021. And the title of the episode is The Corrupt Politicians Just Exposed Their Economic Corruption. Now, let's talk about retirement. Now, you know inflation is killing your retirement. The real rate of inflation, well, it just won't let you keep it up or make a profit. You need a different approach. Precious metals, not Robinhood or stocks that can crash and leave you losing money. An IRA or 401k with Noble Gold is the answer. And this month, Noble Gold is gifting a genuine, rare Carson City minted Morgan silver dollar with every qualifying IRA or 401k. So to find out more, go to 877-646-5347 or click the link in the description. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the mainstream media, the central banks, they've fallen right into the trap that the patriots set. Yes, they planned the pandemic, and I'm talking about the deep state. Yes, they planned this entire thing for what? The election. And how do we know this? Because we know that Biden came out and he made a speech, and he already started to let us know that, wow, this virus can go away if we just wear our masks and do what they say. But what did Trump and the Patriots do? Remember, we know that this was about the election. We know that they were pushing their agenda. But people around this country, they were able to see how Congress operated and who they cared about and where they allocated the funds. And I'm talking about the stimulus money because there just wasn't one stimulus bill. There were multiple stimulus bills. And what does that tell us? It tells us that the spotlight has been on Congress because these weren't small little stimulus bills. They added up to what, $6 trillion in total? And people are starting to do the math. People are starting to realize, well, wait a minute. A lot of these funds did not go to the American people. Where did they go? And people are starting to look into this and question all of this. Now, what's very interesting is that even though that Biden went ahead and he signed the stimulus bill and Congress went ahead and they voted for it, and it was not bipartisan, we can see that this new round of stimulus checks, well, they're not protected from the debt collectors. Now, many Americans might not even receive the $1,400 stimulus check because the debt collectors, they have the ability to confiscate it before the people even get it. Now, the payment of the $600, that was fully protected. The first 1,200 stimulus checks in the spring were also not protected. Now, that is very interesting. And we can see that they push this through, and I'm talking about Congress, the corrupt politicians. They push this through because they really wanted to pay off the establishment, the elites themselves. So when we start to break down this gigantic stimulus bill, we start to see that a lot of this, once again, does not go to the American people. Less than 9% goes to combating COVID-19. 27% or more than $500 billion goes to state and local governments. 21% or approximately $400 billion goes to policies that reduce private sector employment. $135 million for the National Endowment for the Arts. $135 million for the National Endowment for the Humanities. $200 million for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. $12 billion for foreign aid. And here is the other breakdown of this $1.9 trillion stimulus package. 5%, $6 billion of the $130 billion set aside for K through 12 schools. 5%, $250 million of the $5 billion for emergency housing vouchers. 70%, $7 billion of the $39 billion for child care. 23%, $11 billion of the $50 billion for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. None of the $5 billion for homeless assistance. So what we need to know about all of this is that this was an emergency for COVID. This was to help people that were struggling. This was to help the American people. But in the bill, this money does not have to be spent this year. They can wait. It doesn't have to be allocated this year. Now, if this was an emergency, and this is something that everyone needed, why can they wait? And why are the people not receiving a lot of these funds? Now, think about this for a second. The government has spent nearly $6 trillion in virus relief. Divide that by 330 million people. So what does that come out to? That comes out to about 18,000 each. But the people are only receiving what, 3,200 or so? That's it. Where is the rest of these funds going? This is going to the corrupt politicians. They're going to launder it back to themselves through these programs. Yes, some of these programs will get a portion of it, but a lot of it is just going to be lost out into thin air, and no one will be able to fund it. Why? Because no one monitors all this. Now, we've been told this from the beginning by Q, that no one monitors this. Do you think the Patriots, do you think there's something in place now that's monitoring where these funds are going? I do believe so. Now, remember, this is about putting the spotlight on the corrupt politicians. This is about bringing them into focus. And what better way to do this than to have some type of crisis where they are in the focus? And we're not dealing with maybe a couple billion and people aren't paying attention. We're talking about people who need money, people where their businesses are falling apart, people who haven't worked for a long time, people who want to go back to work, but of course, everyone's telling them they can't go back to work, or businesses aren't opening to take them back to work. Yes, it's opening up now. Now let's talk about retirement. Now, you know inflation is killing your retirement. The real rate of inflation, well, it just won't let you keep it up or make a profit. You need a different approach. Precious metals, not Robinhood or stocks that can crash and leave you losing money. An IRA or 401k with Noble Gold is the answer. And this month, Noble Gold is gifting a genuine, rare Carson City minted Morgan silver dollar with every qualifying IRA or 401k. So to find out more, go to 877-646-5347 or click the link in the description. But think about what has been happening right now. Because of these large stimulus packages, the people are watching this very carefully because this money was supposed to be going to them. This is what this was all about. We were in a pandemic, a dark winter, and people needed help through this entire period. So why didn't all this money go to help the people? Why did it go to other places? Places that definitely does not need it at this point, as we can see from the bill, because it says it doesn't have to be spent this year. So there was no emergency for these other areas to get it. The emergency was small businesses and the people. That's it. But out of the $6 trillion, people are only getting like 3,200. That's it. The rest going to the elite, going to the establishment. I do believe the Patriots, they place a spotlight on all these people, so people can see this very, very clearly in what they're doing here. And people are taking notice. People are adding this up and saying there's something wrong here. Congress is not working in the best interest of we, the people. And yes, this is all part of the plan, all part of the Patriots plan. Because moving forward, what has the Patriots done? What has Trump done? He set up the entire thing. Yes, in this first part of his presidency, he made America great again, showed the American people what the country can do. After all these years of all these different presidents and Congress telling us this is the new normal, get used to it, Trump showed them, no, it can be different. We can live in a different economic realm. It doesn't have to be what the private was in central bank. We can do a lot better. And now, since Trump is removed, people are watching the economy completely being torn apart by the Biden administration. Now, we know he's a puppet. There's puppet masters behind him. And at the same time, what is happening? We're seeing cryptocurrencies move up very, very quickly, showing the people the value of their fiat currency, making people question all of this. Why is this going up? Is this a bubble? Is this going to pop? Why has gold been moving up since Trump came into office? Yes, gold is going to follow cryptocurrencies. I do believe this is all being done to put the spotlight on fiat currency, just like the spotlight is on the corrupt politicians. The spotlight is going to show everyone what this system and what these people are all about. And people are starting to take notice. People are starting to see this. Remember, Trump came into his presidency knowing that he was going to have to take this central bank illusion and make it look incredible, the best it's ever looked, to wake people up. Because when you bring in Biden and he starts reversing everything and the economy starts to fall apart, and you see Congress passing this stimulus bill, not just one, not just two, but three, and they see that this money is not going to them, it's going many other places, people really wake up very, very quickly, because this has to do with their finances. And everyone has this in common. And people are starting to notice this now. And I do believe Trump, the Patriots, this was all about the Great Awakening. Yes, there's many different parts about the Great Awakening, and this is one part of it. And it was a very important part because the private Western Central Bank system, they are the controllers of the economy, not just here in the United States, but around the world. And the only way to put pressure on the private Western Central Bank is to wake up the people, to make them understand. And you can see it's already begun. You can see it with the stock market, with GameStop. You can see it with cryptocurrency, which will then roll over into precious metals, because precious metals will follow the cryptocurrencies. It has people questioning the fiat currency. And all of this together is going to expose it all. It's going to create a crisis like we've never seen before. And yes, Trump, he will be coming back to take care of this crisis. And taking care of the crisis is moving the entire economic system, transitioning it away from a private Western Central Bank system into a people system where we, the people, control the entire economic system. That's where this is all headed. And this is why this is being exposed right now. Optics are fantastic. Trump's out of the picture. He did his job during his presidency, showing people that this is not the new normal. Now he's showing everyone what the establishment has been doing for years, how it will not change. They're bringing it back to exactly where it was before Trump came into the picture. And now people can see the difference, and people are waking up. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.